You know, economic theory that's guided American-style capitalism is centered on the magic of comparative advantage, which isn't the same as being the best, just being the most efficient. Now, for that reason, we've been told that everyone wins with free trade, and to celebrate when other nations are willing to provide cheaper versions of stuff that we could also produce. Now, generally, I agree, but there are variables to this line of thinking, and we are learning again today the hard way. You know, years ago, the United States and other countries stopped mining rare earth materials because, well, they were being produced so cheaply out of China. Well, this morning, a talk of China weaponizing rare earth materials to hurt American companies and consumers again proves there are several ways to measure opportunity costs, or what we give up in any trade relationship. And the conclusion is there are greater benefits to a society than cheap stuff, namely our jobs, physical and economic security, and our independence. Joining me now to discuss Loup Ventures Managing Director Gene Munster. Gene, all of a sudden, rare earth materials could be weaponized by the Chinese. And by the way, they did this not too long ago with Japan over a dispute, so it wouldn't be the first time.
Charles, it would not be the first time, and this is the other edge of that sword when we think about comparative advantage, something that I, too, believe is important for trade equity and for raising the overall standard of living across the globe, but there are some consequences. And what we're seeing from Beijing today is a perfect example of that. And ultimately, this is the most current layer in this trade dispute, and one that is going to have some consequences on some companies over the near term, not necessarily the long term, though. Yeah,
I want to talk to you about the company shortly, but to that point, it's just right now saber rattling. I mean, I think China is smart enough to know if they continue to push the envelope on this sort of stuff, and they run out the clock, you know, supply chains, if they move, they're not coming back. If they force us to do things like actually exploit our own rare earths, then they'll never be able to sell us anymore. So that's a real calculated gambit on their part right now, isn't it?
It is, and it's a similar gamble that some of the U.S. is doing around agriculture, too, as we increase some of the tariffs on, or as China increases some of the tariffs on ags going into China, U.S. agriculture going into China. The game, the chess match, is very similar on both sides, and so this, of course, is China's leverage point here, and a big one. This is 80% of rare earth materials that the U.S. uses, at least the tech industry, comes from China. I'm glad that you pointed out there is a difference between rare earth, that these are, in fact, abundant. And so over the long term, the supply curve, the U.S. would be able to find ways, whether it's from outside of the U.S., other countries. But I want to quickly emphasize something that's related to this topic, Charles, is I've recently spoken to a former U.S. trade official, and two things were clear. One is that it is difficult to predict how this plays out. That was most clear. The second piece is that what China and the U.S. can both replace is supply side. So the U.S. can find other ways to get these minerals. China can find other ways to get agriculture. But one thing that cannot be replaced is the U.S. economy, the consumer. 5% of the globe's population, but 25% of the buying power. That ultimately is a greater leverage point for the U.S. in these discussions.
I agree with you 1,000% when I hear folks suggest otherwise, that China will simply find other customers. I just scratch my head and wonder maybe if they found life on Mars. Gene, before I let you go, we got a minute to go. A lot of people think the semiconductors are the best way to gauge the markets and economies, particularly global economies. Semi's obviously in the eye of the storm here, getting hit pretty good. And what do you think about them near term?
So I think that they're going to continue to be under pressure. I think that I would agree with that. They're a great barometer in terms of how just the health of different economies are trading. Ultimately, as I believe that longer term, once we get through some of this trade dispute, the semis are going to start to move higher. So near term, Charles, answer your question. I don't see any real catalyst to own these besides NVIDIA. That's one company that I think has a particularly good position. But longer term, they continue to be good stories to own.
Gene, this is a great conversation. I'm glad you weighed in on it. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.